Next on the news, God was his navigator through life, and soon this transitional deacon will live out a lifelong dream of serving the people of God in Brooklyn and Queens.
His vocation to the priesthood started at a young age, and now Deacon Callistus Ebay is on his way to fulfilling that goal. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll have his story coming up.
A big win for Catholic Charities. The Supreme Court overruled a decision that the agency says discounted its religious identity. Plus, it was the turning point of the war, a day in history the world will never forget, commemorating the 81st anniversary of D-Day through the eyes of those who saw it firsthand. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. It's been a long road, but Deacon Callistus Ebay's journey to the priesthood is coming to an end. The path to priesthood is not always direct, but for Deacon Callistus, it was always the plan. From a young age in Nigeria, he felt the call from God, and now he'll finally fulfill that call in just over 3 weeks when he and 6 other men will be ordained to the priesthood in the Diocese of Brooklyn. We've been introducing them to you ahead of their big day. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has this latest installment of her series, Meet the Priests from Sunnyside.
On a spring day, you might see Deacon Callistus Ebay enjoying a bike ride.
Kind of exercise the whole body for me, get fresh air.
After 9 years of formation, Deacon Callistus is taking on his next journey, becoming a priest. It's a path he started at just 8 years old in Nigeria.
I guess it's a desire that was built into me by God, obviously, but also through my family. I was raised in a very faithful family. My grandfather, actually, he was a catechist, and my mom got her faith, obviously, through him.
Christ, have mercy.
In his hometown, faith was the center of his life, with the entire community coming together for the Lord.
There's nothing as beautiful as you wake up on Sunday and everybody knows what day it is. It's Sunday, you gotta go to church. And everybody just goes to church and you come back. And so my life kind of revolved around the church and school and also my community growing up.
Deacon Callistus lived in a rectory in his home country, which he believes helped in his discernment.
That actually kind of opened the way for me because I was able to see the inner life of the priest, not just on the altar, but also when he's done with Mass, what does the priest do after Mass? And I remember telling God, well, I'm here, I want to do this, but you have to let me know if this is really what you want me to do.
Over the years, he says his vocation never wavered because he knew this is where he belonged.
The Lord continues to show me different ways, little things to assure me that yes, he wants me here, and I still have to keep trusting him.
Deacon Callistus finished his diaconate assignment at Queen of Angels Church in Sunnyside. He doesn't know where he will be assigned as a priest, but he hopes to bring more people back to the pews so they can have the same passion for Christ as he does.
There's nothing like knowing that you have God right next to you, right? Just who you can always talk to as a friend and who you can always, approach at any time.
Moving forward with God's plan for him. In Sunnyside, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
And just a reminder, Deacon Callistus Ebay and 6 other transitional deacons will be ordained in the Diocese of Brooklyn on Saturday, June 28th at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph in Prospect Heights. And you can be a part of it. Just tune into Net TV to watch the ordination live. It begins at 11 a.m. Turning now to a Trump travel ban that will affect several Catholic countries. Citing security concerns, the commander-in-chief is prohibiting travelers from a dozen nations from entering the U.S., 3 of which have a majority Catholic population: the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Haiti. Trump's proclamation also partly restricts the entry of people from 7 other countries. 3 of those are also majority Catholic: Burundi, Cuba, and Venezuela. Catholic immigration experts are calling out the ban. Bishop Mark Seitz, who chairs the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops Committee on Migration, saying in a statement, a broad ban on nationals from these countries further erodes trust in our legal immigration system and marginalizes entire peoples. I pray that these restrictions will be lifted in due course. A big win in a Catholic Charities case that made its way to the nation's highest court. The U.S. Supreme Court unanimously ruled in favor of the Wisconsin Bureau of the charity, overturning a decision by their state Supreme Court that they say violated the First Amendment. That original ruling said the Catholic Charities Bureau was not exempt from paying the state's unemployment tax because its day-to-day work, such as helping to provide housing assistance, daycare, and educational programs, was not inherently religious. Bishop James Powers of the Diocese of Superior, Wisconsin, released a statement celebrating the Supreme Court overturning that ruling, saying, quote, "At the heart of Catholic Charities ministry is Christ's call to care for the least of our brothers and sisters without condition and without exception. We're grateful the court unanimously recognized that improving the human condition by serving the poor is part of our religious exercise and has allowed us to continue serving those in need throughout our diocese and beyond." Friday marks 81 years since the D-Day invasion, often referred to as the beginning of the end of World War II. Allied troops from the United States, the UK, France, and Canada stormed the beaches of Normandy in Nazi-occupied France. While the U.S. Army lost the most men in the landings, it ultimately led to the liberation of Western Europe from Germany less than a year later. One Brooklyn Coast Guard runner was there on that fateful day. And today, D-Day history and his legacy live on through his family. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has the story from New Jersey.
It's called the Legion of Honor. It's the highest award.
Frank DeVita wore this jacket with pride nearly every day for the last 10 years of his life.
It's the Normandy campaign, Omaha Beach, Big Red 1.
His medals and patches tell a story of bravery.
These are the troops that Dad brought in, the Higgins boats.
But Frank had a different recollection of June 6, 1944.
I'm not a hero. The people who are the heroes are the people that are buried there still. So he continually vocalized that.
Frank passed away in 2022 at age 96.
Pictures that Dad took from Brooklyn.
This treasure trove of history, albums, documents, and even Frank's uniforms will soon be displayed in the National Coast Guard Museum in Connecticut. But for now, it lives here in Hoboken, at home with his youngest son, Richard.
How skinny he was. It was like 120 pounds.
D-Day, the largest sea invasion in history. Frank, a 19-year-old from Bensonhurst, then a Coast Guard gunner on the USS Samuel Chase, in charge of dropping the ramp on a Higgins boat during the first attack wave on Omaha Beach. In a 2020 interview with the American Veterans Center, Frank was still haunted by his memories of the sea, dyed red with blood.
And the other guy that was 2 feet away from me, the machine gun took his helmet off, and he was crying, "Help me, help me, help me." I had nothing in my kit to help him. So the only thing I had was the Lord's Prayer.
Plagued with survivor's guilt for decades, Frank went on to live a happy life. He married his childhood friend, Dottie Guardino, at St. Finbar Church in Bath Beach, raised 3 children, and provided for his family as a pattern maker in New York's fashion industry. But no amount of happy memories could replace what took up room in his subconscious.
He tossed and turned, and he moaned a lot in his sleep. I guess they bury it. They bury the PTSD.
And as he gets ready to hand off his dad's most prized possessions, he knows it's what he would have wanted. For the history to be out in the open.
He can rest in peace.
In Hoboken, Jessica Easthope. Currents News.
And we thank all of the veterans for their service. Before we go, a quick programming note. Currents News is taking a break the week of the 4th of July, but don't worry, there's still lots of great programming. Just some of the highlights, we take a look at Pope Leo's journey from Chicago to Rome. Plus, as schools let out across the Diocese of Brooklyn, we are celebrating Catholic education. And a deep dive into the soon-to-be first millennial saint, Blessed Carlo Acutis. We'll be back on Monday, July 7th. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.